Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Shanae Nicole, his millennial housewife, and today I'm getting you out your funk, or I'm at least going to help you get out of your own funk. So today I'm going to give you some areas maybe that you can look deeper into if you're having trouble just getting out of the funk that you're in. Maybe you're not feeling the best. Maybe you just feel like crap, with this quarantine. You may just be like, oh, I'm just over it all, and you need something to kind of pick you up. So that is my goal today, to do that for you. But first, go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, let's get right into it. The first thing is attitude. And we know that attitude is everything, right? When we have a good outlook on things, we tend to just be in a better mood. Things seem to go better, right? So the same thing goes with when we have a bad attitude, when we're complaining about everything, when we are ungrateful about things. It just tends to weigh heavier on us. And I know for me personally, I found myself doing this a while back, and God kind of checked me. I found myself just complaining and finding every negative thing wrong about my situation. And He kind of helped change that. And actually it came from me actually talking to somebody else, and kind of, they're pulling me out of my funk. And so that's what I'm doing for you, because sometimes it's hard to actually do that when you're in the situation. But basically I had to look at the situation that I was in and choose to find the positive. What's going right about the situation, right? The Bible talks about in all things give thanks. And that's not for all things. You're not thankful for COVID-19. You're not thankful for the quarantine, right? But even in that, you can still find something to be thankful about. We don't have to complain every day about the same old things, right? We can start to find things to be grateful for. And there's always something to be grateful for. The Bible talks about, doing all things without grumbling, without complaining, and this is a time that we really can just look inside of ourselves and evaluate the type of attitude that we've been having. Because when we do have a bad attitude, that will definitely flow into our actions. You may have heard that, you really start to see what's in a thing when you put it under pressure. This whole situation has put pressure on us, put pressure to really see what we're made of. And if we find like being stuck at home and, having everything kind of turned upside down on you, and you find yourself that now you're complaining more, now you got an attitude and stuff like that, it shows what's been going on the inside. And so that's a reason to kind of check that and get it right. The second thing that could be keeping you in your funk is the food that we eat. And this is both physically and spiritually. So physically, you may be eating a lot of junk food, maybe food that doesn't really do anything for you, especially with the quarantine. I know for me, I like to snack. And just over the past week or so, I've been eating more things that I previously cut out of my diet. And I can physically feel the difference. My stomach started to hurt. I feel a little bit more tired. And so if you've been doing this over the course of this entire time, it's going on the 4th week now, then your body is starting to react to that. And so that could really keep you down in a funk. Another thing is feeding yourself junk spiritually. So what are you watching on TV? I used to watch so much reality TV, and God kind of checked me on that a while back. So when I would still try to watch it, I kind of was noticing how it was affecting me. It affected my mood. It affected how I saw myself. Why? Because I'm feeding myself a lot of drama, a lot of insecurity, focusing on the things that aren't right. I have I'm looking at stuff that glorifies the wrong things. So I just want to encourage you. This is not like a shot at you or anything like that. But if you do find yourself kind of down and not knowing why, check what you've been watching, what you've been listening to. Maybe you've been listening to too much negativity in the news. That all can affect you. The Bible talks about, and there's as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest. So everything that you're putting in your body is a seed. And when you put that inside of you, it grows. It brings forth a harvest. So if you're putting that stuff in you that's junk, then you're gonna reap a harvest of junk, and you'll start to see that manifest in your attitude. You'll see it start to manifest in your actions and how you interact with other people. So just keep that in mind. And if you're curious, like, I wonder what type of effect this is having, keep a food log. Write down what you ate for the day. Write down what it is that you watched on television, and then just start to evaluate, okay, when I did this, I noticed that my mood changed this way. Another reason you could be feeling off or not yourself is because you're not being yourself. You're focused on being someone else. And that can be exhausting when you're being somebody that you're not, when you're trying to fit in to something that God didn't create you to be. This can really be evident, like I said, in social media, because a lot of us aren't really getting out right now. But with social media, are you portraying yourself to be somebody that you're really not? That can be hard on you, and it starts to weigh on you because you know that you're not being who it is that you really are. And for me, I know I couldn't do that. I couldn't be myself until I realized who it was that God created me to be. So this is a great time to explore who it is that God intended for you to be. What is your purpose? What is it that God placed you on this earth to do? We all have a purpose. We all have a specific reason for being here. And so the way that you can really start to embrace who it is that you really are is by connecting to the person who actually created you. Another reason you could be in a funk is your excuses. Our excuses keep us in our funk. It keeps us down. It keeps us in the same exact place, which is a lot of times where we don't want to be, because it gives us a reason to not move forward, right? We say we don't have enough time when really there's the same amount of time for everybody's day. And we put things off on people like, oh, well, she can do that because she has access to blah, 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 or because she has this and I don't. It gives us a reason to not amount to anything, to not press higher, right? But we need to really watch that, because even though, that may be true, right? People have different access. They have different resources, yes, but we all have the same amount of time, and we all can maximize what it is that we have. So I want to encourage you, instead of making the excuse, make the reason why you can still get something done, right? You may not have the amount of money. I don't have the money that I want. I don't have the house that I want. But what is it that you do have that can get you to where you want to be? Same thing with knowing the right people. You may not know the right people right now. You say it's not what you know, it's who you know. But let's maximize the relationships that we do have. I know for me, networking is not a strength for me. And a lot of times I have struggled with that. But just over the last few months, I've noticed that I've been able to start to cultivate other relationships with other people. And it just it just required me to come outside of my shell, to come outside of my comfort zone, right? And a lot of times our excuses will keep us just where it's comfortable, right? But when we come outside of our comfort zone, we start to really to flourish, right? Now I wasn't focused on what I didn't have or my lack of ability or whatever that was. I was starting to really just use what I have to do it. I've seen that a lot just recently. I'm seeing with this time, people are coming out with their blogs, with their channels, and doing different collaborative things. Why? Because now they're like, what? I don't have a reason not to do this, even though it may not be perfect, even though I don't have everything that I might need. I can find something to use to better, and let me just start. And then that way God can start to put his super on my natural, right? God can start to really use what it is that you've started to work with. He can work with what you've started to use. And the last reason that we can just be stuck in our funk is fear or uncertainty, of the future, because we don't know what's going to happen. It keeps us exactly where we are. And this kind of ties into that last one, because, you think that you're not good enough. You think you don't have everything that you're supposed to have. And then that fear turns into an excuse as to why you can't do it. And, God is not the author of fear at at all, you know. So there's no way that God can work when we are operating in fear. So when we are operating in fear, it opens the door to the devil to come in and kind of wreak havoc in every area of our lives. So we really want to make sure that we're checking that fear at the door and getting back into faith. And that might require, wherever it is that you're fearful of, whatever area, okay, what does the word say about it? Okay, let me act on this right now. So now that you know some of the reasons why you could be in this funk, now you can start really targeting those things and working on getting yourself out of it. I feel like, you know what, it has been my attitude. I've noticed that I've been complaining about things, and you know, that's just a habit. You know, we get used to finding the worst in things and pointing those things out and being ungrateful. All of that can become a habit. So you can break that habit and start a new habit, to where you're intentionally looking for the positive, intentionally looking for the good in things. So if it's the junk in, junk out, now I'm going to start evaluating, okay, what is it that I'm actually looking at? We talked about that log. So then once you know, you can start replacing it with the things that are going to edify you, the things that are going to build you up, the things that are going to keep you filled with faith. You know, you can start searching on the internet for that type of stuff now, instead of the junk, right? Because when we put the right things in us, it's a seed as well. So we're going to get that harvest of the good things that we put in us. So we should be doing that at every opportunity, you know, and it's not even necessarily all spiritual things. You know, this is, you know, maybe things for your business that you could be placing in, you know, things that are going to start developing you. This is all going to bring you a harvest. So you want to make sure that you are seeking Holy Spirit to show you, okay, what things should I be putting inside of me? Because it may be different for you and me based on what your purpose is, you know, or from someone else. It may require more or less. So, and if it's your excuses, you know, being able to pinpoint that and realize, you know what, I'm saying that I can't because of this or because of that. It could be because of fear. You know what I mean? Why you even are making the excuse in the first place. Like, you know, you hear about people being afraid of success or afraid of failure, you know, and when you realize that you're making an excuse as a reason not to do something, then do that thing, regardless of if you think everything is in place, you know, because all of the conditions a lot of times will never be completely right. And that requires us to step out on faith and just use what it is that we have and allow God to multiply that. The goal is to become the best version of ourselves. And in order to do that, we really need to be willing to prune ourselves, to check ourselves, you know, and that's what the Holy Spirit is there for. He teaches us, he corrects us, he comforts us. So allow him to do that. You know, if any of these things kind of spoke to you like, oh, you know what, I do that, just be real with yourself and do what's necessary to change it, to shift it, right? Don't get in a funk over being in a funk. But yeah, y'all, I love you so much. I'm hoping that we can get out of here soon. But until then, just find something to be thankful for. I refuse to complain. No complain gang.